You waste your best years waiting for someone to clap. They never will. And while you wait, your dreams rot in silence. Let me be blunt with you. You are pouring your energy into people who will never see your value. You are measuring your worth by the opinions of those who have no vision. You are letting criticism from the aimless shape the destiny of someone who could rise. And worst of all, you are using their indifference as proof that you should quit. That is not wisdom. That is suicide of the soul. I have spent 2 decades studying the greatest achievers this world has known. Men who built empires, men who lit the darkness with invention, men who turned nothing into fortunes while the masses mocked them. And I will tell you something they all understood. The moment you stop caring what small minds think is the moment you become dangerous. Andrew Carnegie did not ask permission from steel workers who doubted him. Thomas Edison did not pause his laboratory work to convince skeptics he was not insane. Henry Ford did not hold a town meeting to see if people believed in the horseless carriage. They moved forward with such burning certainty that the world had no choice but to follow. You are not doing that. You are stuck, frozen, paralyzed by the fear that someone, somewhere, will not approve. And so you drift, you postpone, you revise your dreams downward until they fit inside the tiny box of other people's comfort. You call it being realistic. I call it poverty of the spirit. Listen to me. The people who do not care about your success are not your problem. Your problem is that you care too much about them. You have handed your power to people who have none. You have made gods out of critics. You have let the blind lead you away from your own vision. And now you wonder why you feel lost. You feel lost because you are chasing approval instead of achievement. You are seeking validation instead of building value. You are waiting for permission that will never come because the mediocre do not give permission to the great. They resent it. They fear it. They will do everything in their power to pull you back down to their level. So stop asking them. Stop explaining yourself. Stop trying to make them understand. They cannot understand what they have never desired. You are speaking a language they do not speak. You are describing a country they will never visit. And the more you try to bring them with you, the more you delay your own arrival. I want you to understand something fundamental about human nature. Most people do not think. They drift, they react, they repeat the opinions they heard at breakfast. They live their entire lives on autopilot, guided by nothing but habit and fear and the low hum of survival. They have no definite purpose. They have no burning desire. They have no plan. And because they have none of these things, they cannot fathom why you would need them. To them, your ambition looks like arrogance. Your persistence looks like stubbornness. Your refusal to settle looks like foolishness. And when you succeed, they will call it luck. They have to. Because if they admitted it was vision, planning, and relentless action, they would have to face the fact that they chose comfort over conquest. Do not hate them for this. Pity them if you must. But do not let them determine your direction. You have been given a mind capable of incredible things. You have been given the ability to think, to choose, to create, to persist. And you are wasting it trying to win the approval of people who do not even approve of themselves. Now, let me tell you what happens when you break free from this trap. I have seen it happen. I have studied it. I have watched ordinary men and women transform into forces of nature the moment they stopped seeking permission and started taking action. There was a man who wanted to bring electric light to the world. They said it could not be done. They said gas lamps were good enough. They said he was wasting his time. He failed 1,000 times, then 2,000, then 10,000. And each time someone asked him how it felt to fail so often, he looked them in the eye and said he had not failed. He had simply discovered 10,000 ways that did not work. That man did not care what they thought. He cared about the light. And because he cared more about his definite purpose than their doubt, he gave the world something it had never seen. He did not do it for applause. He did it because the idea had seized him and would not let go. Do you have an idea like that? A vision that haunts you? A dream that wakes you at 3 in the morning? If you do, then you already know what I'm talking about. And if you are letting other people talk you out of it, you are committing a crime against your own potential. Let me tell you about another man. He was a poor Scottish immigrant who came to America with nothing. He worked in a cotton mill as a boy. He had no education, no connections, no inheritance. But he had something more valuable than all of those things. He had a definite chief aim. He wanted to build the greatest steel empire the world had ever known. And he wanted to do it by organizing the labor and intelligence of other men into a mastermind alliance. People laughed. They said steel was controlled by the old guard. They said an immigrant bobbin boy had no business dreaming that big. They said he should be grateful for his factory job and stop reaching above his station. He did not listen. He moved forward with absolute faith in his idea. He studied. He planned. He gathered around him men who shared his vision. And step by step, decision by decision, he turned that burning desire into the largest fortune of his age. Not because people believed in him, but because he believed in his purpose more than he feared their doubt. That is what I want you to hear. Your belief in your purpose must be stronger than your fear of their criticism. Your faith in your vision must be louder than their voices. Your commitment to your definite chief aim must be unshakable, even when the ground beneath you shakes, because it will shake. Doubt will come. Failure will visit. There will be nights when you wonder if you are insane for continuing. There will be days when quitting looks like wisdom. And in those moments, the voices of the doubters will grow louder. They will remind you of every mistake. They will list every reason why you should stop. And if you are still seeking their approval, you will stop. But if you have decided, truly decided, that you will not quit until you succeed, then their voices become background noise. They lose their power. They become irrelevant. Because you are no longer playing their game, you are playing a different game entirely, a game where persistence wins, where organized planning compounds, where burning desire eventually breaks through every obstacle. Let me tell you something about desire. Real desire is not a wish. It is not a hope. It is not a casual preference. Real desire is an obsession. It is a fire that consumes you. It is a force that reorganizes your entire life around a single aim. And when you have that kind of desire, the opinions of others become as significant as the chirping of sparrows. You do not ask a sparrow for permission to fly. You do not consult the grass about whether you should reach for the sun. And you do not let people without desire tell you what is possible for someone who has it. Before I continue, answer one question honestly. When you lie in bed at night, do you think about your dream, or do you think about what they said about your dream? Because that will tell you who is really in control. If you are replaying their criticism, you have given them your mind. If you are refining your plan, you have taken it back. If you are still listening, something inside you is waking up. It is realizing that you have been living under a spell, the spell of other people's limitations, the spell of inherited doubt, the spell of fear dressed up as realism, and now that spell is breaking. You are starting to see that the only approval you ever needed was your own. You are starting to understand that the only person who has to believe in your dream is you. But understanding is not enough. You must act. You must take that understanding and turn it into decision. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, not when everyone agrees. Now, today, this moment. Decision is the starting point of all achievement. Not desire alone, not planning alone, but the definite decision to act on your desire with organized planning. And once you make that decision, truly make it, the universe has a strange way of moving obstacles out of your path. I do not mean this in some mystical sense. I mean it practically. When you decide with finality, your subconscious mind goes to work. It begins to reorganize your thoughts. It begins to attract ideas, opportunities, and people aligned with your purpose. It begins to filter your perception so that you see possibilities where before you saw only problems. This is not magic. This is the law of the mind. Thoughts are things. They have power. They have creative force. And when you direct them with clarity and persistence toward a definite end, they shape your reality. But most people never experience this because they never truly decide. They dabble. They experiment. They try something until it gets hard, and then they quit. And when you ask them why they quit, they will give you 100 reasons. The economy, the competition, the lack of support. And every single one of those reasons is a lie they tell themselves to avoid admitting the truth. The truth is they were more committed to comfort than to achievement. They were more afraid of criticism than they were hungry for success. They were more interested in fitting in than standing out. And so they joined the vast majority of humanity that drifts through life without purpose, without power, without ever knowing what they could have become. You do not have to join them. You can break free. You can choose a different path. But you must choose it knowing that it will be lonely at times. You must choose it knowing that the people you hope will celebrate you may instead criticize you. You must choose it knowing that success is not a group activity and that the higher you climb, the fewer companions you will have. And that is fine. Because you are not climbing for them. You are climbing because something inside you demands it. You are climbing because you have a definite purpose and you have decided that you will not die without fulfilling it. You are climbing because you understand that the greatest tragedy is not failure, but never trying. Let me tell you about a man who understood this better than most. He had a vision of putting America on wheels. He wanted to build a car so affordable that every working man could own one. The experts told him it was impossible. The manufacturing process was too complex. The cost was too high. The market was too small. They gave him 1,000 reasons why it could not be done. He ignored them all. He locked himself in his workshop and refused to accept the word impossible. He failed. He adjusted. He tried again. He refined the process. He eliminated waste. He innovated assembly. And eventually he created something the world had never seen, a method of production so efficient that he could sell a quality automobile for a price the common man could afford. Did everyone celebrate him? No. Many resented him. Competitors attacked him. Critics mocked his methods. But he did not care. He had achieved his definite chief aim. He had proven that one man with a clear vision and unwavering persistence could change the world. That is what you are capable of. Not his exact achievement, but your own. You have within you the seed of something great, a talent, an idea, a purpose, and it is waiting for you to stop asking permission and start acting. But you must feed it. You must nourish it with action. You must protect it from the poison of doubt. You must surround it with the fertile soil of faith. And most importantly, you must stop exposing it to people who have no capacity to see its value. Do you understand what I am saying? There are people in your life right now who will never see what you see. They will never understand what drives you. They will never celebrate your victories because your victories remind them of their defeats. And if you keep seeking their approval, you will shrink your dreams until they are small enough for their understanding. Stop shrinking. Start expanding. Stop explaining. Start executing. Stop waiting. Start moving. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking it sounds good in theory, but what about the fear? What about the uncertainty? What about the bills and the responsibilities and the very real consequences of failure? Let me tell you something about fear. Fear is a liar. It tells you that disaster is certain when in fact it is only possible. It tells you that you are not ready when in fact you will never feel completely ready. It tells you to wait for the perfect moment when in fact the perfect moment is always now. And the people who tell you to be realistic are simply projecting their own fear onto you. They are not protecting you. They are protecting themselves from the discomfort of watching you attempt something they were too afraid to try. You do not owe them your smallness. You do not owe them your safety. You do not owe them the sacrifice of your dreams on the altar of their comfort. What you owe yourself is an honest effort, a real attempt, a wholehearted pursuit of the thing that calls to you. And if you fail, if you stumble, if you fall flat on your face, you will still be more alive than the person who never tried. You will still have learned more. You will still have grown more. You will still have honored the gift of life more than those who spent it seeking the approval of people who gave them none. Failure is not the enemy. Fear of failure is the enemy. And the way you defeat that fear is not by eliminating risk, but by committing so fully to your purpose that failure becomes merely information, not identity. Edison did not fail 10,000 times. He succeeded in discovering 10,000 things that did not work. Do you see the difference? His identity was not tied to the outcome of each experiment. His identity was tied to the mission. And because his identity was secure, he could fail without being a failure. You can do the same. You can decide that your worth is not determined by their applause. You can decide that your value is not measured by their understanding. You can decide that your identity is rooted in your purpose, not their perception. And when you make that decision, something miraculous happens. You become free, free to try, free to fail, free to learn, free to persist, free to eventually succeed. And that freedom is worth more than all the approval in the world. Now, let me speak plainly about what happens next. If you take this message to heart, if you really decide to stop stressing about people who do not care, you will lose some people. They will call you selfish. They will say you have changed. They will accuse you of thinking you are better than them. Let them. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Their growth is not your burden. Your only responsibility is to the purpose that burns inside you. Your only burden is the one you carry when you know you could have been more but chose to be less for the sake of people who never asked you to. I have seen too many talented people die with their music still in them. I have seen too many brilliant minds waste away in jobs they hated because they were afraid of disappointing people who would forget them a week after their funeral. I have seen too many dreams deferred until they became regrets. Do not let that be your story. Do not let the fear of criticism rob you of your one chance to see what you are capable of. Do not let the comfort of approval keep you from the glory of achievement. You were not born to be average. You were not given a mind capable of imagination and reason and persistence so that you could spend it worrying about the opinions of people who are not thinking about you at all. Most of the people you are afraid to disappoint are too busy worrying about their own problems to notice your success or your failure. They are not sitting around thinking about you. They are thinking about themselves. And the few who do think about you, the ones who criticize and doubt and mock, they are only doing so because your ambition reminds them of their own abandoned dreams. You are not responsible for their regret. You are only responsible for your own. And the greatest regret you could ever have is knowing you had a chance to become something extraordinary and you chose to stay ordinary because it was easier. Ease is the enemy of greatness. Comfort is the graveyard of potential. Safety is where dreams go to die. I am not telling you to be reckless. I'm telling you to be purposeful. I am not telling you to ignore wisdom. I am telling you to stop confusing fear with wisdom. I am not telling you to abandon everyone. I am telling you to stop abandoning yourself for people who do not value the sacrifice. There is a difference between being accountable to people who have earned your respect and being held hostage by people who have not. There is a difference between considering wise counsel and being paralyzed by the chorus of the timid. You must learn to discern the difference. You must learn to surround yourself with people who are going somewhere, not people who are content to stay where they are. You must learn to seek advice from those who have achieved what you want to achieve, not from those who have never tried. This is the mastermind principle, the deliberate gathering of minds aligned with your purpose, the strategic formation of alliances with those who share your vision, the intentional cultivation of relationships that lift you higher rather than hold you back. Carnegie understood this. He built his fortune not alone, but by organizing the specialized knowledge and effort of others into a coordinated whole. He chose his associates carefully. He surrounded himself with men of ambition and ability, and together they achieved what none of them could have achieved alone. You must do the same. You must become ruthless about who gets access to your mind. You must guard your thoughts like a fortress. You must protect your purpose like a treasure. Because the moment you allow doubt to take root, the moment you let criticism poison your thinking, the moment you give more weight to their fear than to your faith, you lose. Not because they defeated you, but because you defeated yourself. That is what I want you to avoid. I want you to stop being your own worst enemy. I want you to stop using other people's doubt as evidence that you should quit. I want you to stop interpreting every setback as a sign that you should turn back. Setbacks are not signs, they are lessons. They are part of the price you pay for admission to the arena. They are the necessary friction that transforms desire into achievement. And every person who ever accomplished anything worth remembering encountered them. The difference between those who succeeded and those who failed was not the presence or absence of obstacles. It was the decision to persist in spite of them. It was the refusal to let temporary defeat become permanent failure. It was the understanding that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But you have to look for that seed. You have to mine it. You have to plant it. And you have to have faith that it will grow even when you cannot yet see the harvest. That is faith. Not blind hope, not wishful thinking, but confident expectation based on the knowledge that you are moving in alignment with proven principles. You are thinking clearly. You are acting decisively. You are learning constantly. You are adjusting intelligently. And you are persisting relentlessly. When you do these things, success is not a matter of if, but when. The timing may be uncertain, the path may be winding, but the destination is inevitable for the person who refuses to quit. So refuse to quit. Refuse to be swayed by the doubt of others. Refuse to let their lack of vision limit your possibilities. Refuse to trade your dreams for their approval. Refuse to live a life dictated by the fears of people who never conquered their own. You have one life, one chance, one opportunity to see what you can build, what you can become, what you can contribute, and that opportunity is slipping away with every day you spend worrying about people who do not care. Stop worrying. Start working. Stop seeking permission. Start taking action. Stop living for their approval. Start living for your purpose. And when you do, when you finally break free from the prison of other people's opinions, you will discover something profound. You will discover that you do not need them to believe in you for your dreams to come true. You only need you. You think it. You feel it. You write it. You speak it. You plan it. You act on it. You persist through it. You become it. That is the formula. That is the law. That is the path from where you are to where you want to be. And every single person who has ever walked that path did so alone at first. They walked it without applause. They walked it without encouragement. They walked it without the approval of the masses. They walked it because something inside them demanded it. You have that same something inside you. I know you do because you are still here. You are still listening. You are still searching for the permission you do not need. And I am here to tell you that the permission you seek is already yours. You do not need their blessing. You need your decision. You do not need their understanding. You need your persistence. You do not need their belief. You need your faith. And when you combine decision, persistence, and faith with a definite chief aim and organized planning, you become unstoppable. Not because nothing can hurt you, but because nothing can stop you. Pain will come. Criticism will come. Doubt will come. But they will bounce off the armor of your purpose. They will break against the wall of your persistence. They will dissolve in the light of your faith. And one day, when you have achieved what you set out to achieve, when you have become what you set out to become, when you have built what you set out to build, the same people who doubted you will ask how you did it. Do not tell them it was luck. Do not let them off that easy. Tell them the truth. Tell them you stopped caring what they thought. Tell them you stopped stressing about people who did not care. Tell them you decided to move forward with or without their approval. Tell them you chose your purpose over their comfort. And maybe, just maybe, your example will give them the courage to do the same. Maybe your success will wake something up inside them. Maybe your persistence will show them what is possible when you stop asking permission and start taking action. That is your responsibility now, not to them, but to yourself. To live in such a way that your life becomes a testimony to what one person can accomplish when they stop living for others and start living for their purpose. The world does not need more people who play it safe. The world does not need more people who shrink their dreams to fit inside the box of other people's comfort. The world does not need more people who apologize for their ambition. The world needs you to rise. The world needs you to build. The world needs you to create. The world needs you to persist. The world needs you to show them what is possible when desire meets decision and persistence meets planning. So rise, build, create, persist, not for their applause, for your fulfillment, not for their approval, for your peace, not for their understanding, for your purpose. And when the journey gets hard, when the critics get loud, when the doubt gets heavy, remember this moment. Remember that someone who studied success for 20 years told you that you have everything you need to succeed. Remember that the only thing standing between you and your dreams is the decision to stop stressing about people who do not care. Make that decision. Make it now. Make it final. And then move forward with such certainty, such power, such relentless persistence that the world has no choice but to make way. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your purpose is calling. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is more important than answering that call. If this message spoke to your heart, share it with someone who needs hope today. And if you want more messages that grow your soul, subscribe, because your journey has just begun.